पतरूपेभ्यः कृपा सिन्धु एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिधि नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये।
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So we are hearing the universal form, how the universal form of the Lord. And from the universal form of the Lord, various sense organs and the knowledge acquiring senses are manifesting. So the entire creation and the basis is all given. You remember? 3, 10, 3 and 1. So 10 was the life air, 3 are the Atma Shakti or self-identification. Self-identification with matter, and then self-identification with body and mind, and self-identification as spirit soul. So how each organ is manifesting, and what is the controlling deity, and how the subtle sense organ, and what is the sense object. All this is being explained. It's a little technical, but worth knowing how this is called Srishti Leela. How Krishna does the Srishti Leela. Okay. We have done till 17th or 18th yesterday. We did the ears, how the ear manifests. When the ears of the gigantic form became manifested, all the controlling deities of the directions entered into them with the hearing principle, by which all the living entities hear and take advantage of sound. Now the 18th verse. Vachamasya vinirbinnam vivishur dishnayam oshadhi amshena romabhikandum yerasu pratipadyate. When there was a separate manifestation of skin, Vacham is the skin. From where? From this gigantic form. So the controlling deities of sensation and their different parts entered into it. And thus the living entity feels itching and happiness due to touch. For sense perception, there are two principles. That is of touch. Sense perception is touch and itching. And both of them are controlled by the skin and hairs on the body. According to Srila Vishnu Chakravarti, the controlling deity of touch is the air passing within the body. And the controlling deity of the hairs on the body is Oshadhya. For the skin, the object of perception is touch, And for hairs on the body, the object of perception is itching. Got it? So, when this organ, skin manifests, so the controlling deity is passing air. The passing air and how this perception comes into work is through touch and itching. Okay, just hear it, not much to try to understand, because understanding is not possible. Just hear and accept. Medharam tasya vinirvinnam swadhishnayam ka upavisha vedasa amshena yena so anandam pratipadyate. Further, now the working senses. When the genitals of the gigantic form separately become manifest, then Prajapati, the original living creature, entered into them with his partial semen. And thus the living entities can enjoy sex pleasure. Prabhupada has not given any purport to this. Just here. Then, what are the working senses? What are the working senses? Purushottam?
Prabhu, hand, leg,
Yeah.
mouth, and
Hands, leg, and
mouth,
speech. Not
speech.
mouth.
Yeah.
Speech. Then, तीन है या ज्यादा है?
5.
बाकी दो क्या है? प्रदीप, what are the other two remaining? तो यार ABCD बराबर है. 5 knowledge acquiring senses or 5 working senses is like ABCD.
Legs.
Huh?
Legs.
He has already said hands, leg, and speech. 3 is covered out of 5. What are the remaining 2? I am asking. See what is the pathetic situation. You don't know what is the working senses. Manoram Prabhu?
Prabhuji, the rest two is the rectum and the genitals, Prabhuji.
Yes, it is genital. That is why I asked, because previously genital was mentioned that when the Mahapurush manifested his genitals, so the Prajapati entered with the partial semen, and that is how the progeny takes place. And now it will talk about the rectum. When the genitals of the gigantic form separately became manifest, then Prajapati, the original living creator, entered into them with his partial semen. And thus the living entity can enjoy sex pleasure. Then next is Udam Pumso Vinirvinnam Mitro Lokesha Visha. Payunam Shena Yenasu Visargam Pratipadyate. The evacuating channels separately become manifest, and the director named Mitra entered into it with partial organs of evacuation. Thus, the living entities are able to pass stool and urine. So, how systematically, one after the other, all these sense organs, the gross organs, have manifested, and who is the controlling deity, and what is the sense object, the tanmatras and activity. Everything is being systematically explained. Next verse. See, we covered what? Genitals, and we covered the Uda. It is the evacuating, which is the rectum. Then Hasta. Hastovasya vinirvinno Indra sver patirabhishat Vartayamshen purusho Yaya vrittim prapadyate. Thereafter, when the hands of the gigantic form separately become manifest, Indra, the ruler of the heavenly planet, enter into them. And thus the living entity is able to transact business for his livelihood. So here it is the controlling deity is Indra, and by hand we operate, we perform all the activities for our existence, for our livelihood. And what is left? Two are remaining. Then next is legs. Padavasya vinirvinno Lokesho Vishnuravisha Gatya Swamshena Purusho Yara Prapyam Prapadyate. Thereafter, the legs of the gigantic form separately became manifest. And the demigod named Vishnu, not the personality of Godhead, entered with partial movement. This helps the living entity move to his destinations. So, Padav, the feet, becomes manifest. Buddhim chasya vinirvinnam Magisho dhishnayam avishat Bodham shena bodhavyam Pratipattiryato bhave. When the intelligence of the gigantic form separately became manifest, Brahma, the Lord of the Vedas, entered into it with partial power of understanding. And thus an object of understanding is experienced by the living entities. So different now, even more subtle is buddhi. So we have seen so far how many? Nostrils, eyes, skin, ears, genitals, the hands, legs, and now the intelligence. So the controlling deity of intelligence is Brahma. And what it gives is bodhena, understanding. Without intelligence, one cannot have proper understanding. And thus an object of understanding is experienced by the living entities. Or it is also the power of discrimination. From intelligence comes the power of discrimination. Hidayam chasya nirvinnam Chandrama Dishnayam Avishi Manas Amshena Yena So Vikriyam Pratipadyate. After that, the heart of the gigantic form separately manifested itself. And into it entered the moon demigod with partial mental activity. And thus the living entity can conduct his mental speculation. So actually who can say what is being spoken here? After that, the heart of the gigantic form separately manifested in itself, and into it entered the moon demigod with partial mental activity. Thus, the living entity can conduct his mental speculation. So, what is being spoken about here? Let us see how much buddhi is available. What is the understanding? Who has understood it? Priyanka, what is your understanding on this?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
This verse speaks about mind is manifested, Prabhuji. Mind is in the
Very
heart.
good. Very good. You have perfectly got it. Let's talk about the mind. And where is the mind seated? In the heart. So it seems that it is talking about the heart, but the focus is the mind. Because the activity of speculation is not by the heart, it is by the mind. Very good. Atmanam chasya nirbhinnam abhimano abhishatpadam karmanam shena yenaso kartavyam pratipadyate. Thereafter, the materialistic ego of the gigantic form separately manifested itself, and into it entered Rudra, the controller of the false ego, with his own partial activities by which the living entity performs its objective actions. The false ego of materialistic identity is controlled by the demigod Rudra, an incarnation of Lord Shiva. Who is the presiding deity of false ego? So many times we have discussed. Who will answer? Who is the presiding deity of false ego? Bolo Bhagishini.
Krishna Prabhuji, Prabhuji Sankarshan.
Yes, very good. Sankarshan. And Rudra is part of Sankarshan. Is controlled by the demigod Rudra, an incarnation of Lord Shiva. Rudra is the incarnation of the Supreme Lord who controls the mode of ignorance and within material nature. The activities of the false ego are based on the objective of the body and mind. Most persons conducted by the false ego are controlled by Lord Shiva. When one reaches a finer version of ignorance, he falsely thinks of himself as the Supreme Lord. That egoistic conviction of the conditioned soul is the last layer of illusionary energy which controls the entire material world. Prabhupada says the last layer of Maya is to consider oneself one with the Supreme. That is because of the influence of false ego. Sattvam chasya vinirvinnam mahan dhishnayam upavashid chittenam shena yenaso vijnanam pratipadyate. Thereafter, when the consciousness of the gigantic form separately manifested itself, the total energy, the Mahatattva entered within the gigantic form's conscious part. Thus, the living entity is able to conceive specific knowledge. So, this completes this section, right from gross to subtle, that how various senses, the sense objects, the working senses, the subtle senses, mind, intelligence, false ego, and also now just talking about the consciousness, Chittam. It is called here as Tattva. It enters. Okay. Should I continue? Or you want to have some discussion? Tell me. All of you should change your sleeping time. Now target is 9:30. That is why I am closing the class near to 9 or maybe earlier than 9. Follow, let us have some discussion, otherwise it will be only just reading. Covered many shlokas today. Almost 10 verses. बोलो. Yes, Ramya.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in all the translation it is written partial.
Partial
Why?
or complete. Because the demigod is entering, na? The Adi Deva. It is saying, like it said, that material ego. So it is represented by Rudra. So it is all it is saying partial activity. That is true. So what is the problem? Okay, I will not, just cover it up. The next is how the development of planets, living entities, varnas, that we will take it up tomorrow. If you have any questions so far, you can ask. But kindly read. At least you have another 10 minutes. I will wind up, but you can read. At least go again. There is 26 verses we have done. At least give it a reading. To know how this material creation is done. Many times in Srimad Bhagavatam, material creation is explained. Why it is explained again and again, but still it is very difficult to comprehend. Still it is very inconceivable. So we saw in the second canto, there was creation. We are seeing in the third canto, it is creation. And when Kapil Dev will explain, it will be in much more detail. He will also explain the creation. So again and again, creation is being explained. How creation takes place. So unless and until one knows Srishti Lila, one cannot know Krishna's Vrindavan Lila. We are very eager to know Krishna's Vrindavan Lila. Or Dwarka Lila. But what about Srishti Lila? Who will understand this Srishti Lila? First, we have to get to know this Srishti Lila. That is the Aishwarya. And then we can enter into Madhurya. Which are all these Leelas in Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwarka. Hare Krishna Pranab. I hope to see you regularly, otherwise you will be left out.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna Dandavat. We have reached 3.6. Yes. what is your question?
Prabhuji, verse number 25. Prabhuji, what is the meaning of by which the translation, Prabhuji, by which the living entity transacts its objective actions?
25th.
Yes, Prabhuji, translation.
Okay. Thereafter, the materialistic ego of the gigantic form separately manifested itself, and into it entered Rudra. This is how, see, first is what is the gross manifestation, and then the controlling deity enters. This is Rudra, who is the controller of the false ego, with his own partial activity. And then what is the activity which the living entity performs? That is the sequence, how everything is moving. So what is being manifested from the universal form? Then what is its controlling deity? And what is the sense organ? And what is the activity? So what is the activity of the false ego? By which the living entity performs these objective actions. What is the objective action for a person who is guided by the false ego? Prabhupada is mentioning, yes, here. The activities of the false ego are based on the objective of the body and mind. Okay. So these are the objective actions. Most persons conducted by false ego are controlled by Lord Shiva. When one reaches a finer version of ignorance, he falsely thinks of himself as the Supreme Lord. That egoistic conviction of the conditioned soul is the last layer of illusionary energy which controls the entire material world. समझ में आया?
Yes, Prabhuji. Because if he is acting on the level of false ego, he will be acting on the body and mind, Prabhuji.
Yes. He will be in bodily consciousness. And what he will consider himself? That he is the proprietor, he is the enjoyer, he is the controller. So he will try to equate himself with the Supreme Lord, and he is the enjoyer. Okay. Yes, Manoram Prabhu.
Prabhuji, there is a little clarification on the
Yes.
false ego generated in 2 steps, Prabhuji. First, we have seen that during Mahavishnu put his glance over the Mahatattva,
Yeah.
that time also one false ego generates, and false ego plus goodness is
Yeah,
zero.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
That
here
is how the
again,
universal creation happens. No? That is the universal creation. Here we
yes,
are talking about the creation of the Virat Rupa. This is the universal form. And that is the creation of the universe. The two different, distinct things.
okay, yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
I am telling you that Srishti Leela is there again and again. Various times it has been explained. But it is like the soul. Ascharavad vadati tatheva charnyam. Ascharavad enam shunotesh. What is the verse? Ascharavad pashyati. So it is amazing to speak, amazing to hear, but even after hearing and speaking, it is very difficult to understand. Very well. That is why Prabhupada was given that Dr. Frog analogy, PhD. Day before yesterday, I was explaining. Prabhupada has already given, so we should not become Dr. Frog. Because if we try to measure this creation with our intelligence, it will fail miserably. It will fail. So let us not become Dr. Frog or Mr. Frog. Okay. Anyone else? बाकी तो कोई दिमाग लगा ही नहीं रहा है. बोले दिमाग लगाने के लिए तो वैसे ही मना किया, तो क्यों लगाना है? नहीं, फिर भी समझने का प्रयास करना, बिकॉज द मोर वी आर keen to know, Krishna will reveal. Krishna will reveal. Hare Krishna. So I'll end up here, and please read at least once or twice. You should all read and try to get some, feel. If not proper understanding, try to get some feel of what is being spoken about by these two great personalities. Just imagine, just think. For Vidur, Lord, at the time of departure, had preserved a message, special message, to be conveyed to him, which is being conveyed by Maitri Muni. So he is not asking, अरे जो भगवान ने मेरे लिए कहा वो बताओ यार, ये सब क्या सुना रहे हो? हाँ, इस सृष्टि लीला से मुझे क्या करना है? मुझे तो भगवान ने जाते समय he has personally given me his love for me. Let me have it. Why should I get into all this shrishti leela and all this? But it is important. It is important. That is why it is here. That is why again and again it is being said. Even if we come to Bhagavad Gita, most confidential knowledge, again and again Krishna is talking about his Yoga Aishwarya. Okay, thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanand ki Hari Hari Bol.
We have to will recite the 15 chapters. Yes, so okay, no problem. Tomorrow we'll decide. Thank you.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, जय हो। आई थिंक
कैसे आप?
बस प्रभु जी, आपकी ब्लेसिंग्स, आपकी ब्लेसिंग्स है प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी, आपका आपका श्रीमुख से सुनते हैं प्रभु जी। 15 हम लोग कर लेते हैं, वो लोग मैं भी ज्वाइन करेंगे। मैं भी दे विल ज्वाइन, वो लोग डिस्कनेक्ट हो गए।
Disconnect हो गया।
यस प्रभु जी।
But I think they disconnected or they stopped probably.
मैं भी डिस्कनेक्टेड और व्हाट? इट सीम्स डिस्कनेक्टेड।
Vaishil Prabhuji is telling something, no, Prabhuji. Before leaving the meeting, he's saying something, right? He's saying
Yeah.
tomorrow we'll recite, or what he is saying?
I do not know, Prabhuji, exactly. Actually, I did not hear. Okay. No issues. Otherwise, we'll read Prabhuji ourselves and then I think we can recite.
Okay.
Maybe we'll.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhuji.
We are
I will
leaving.
recite, yeah.
We are living or reciting,
Am I
Prabhuji? Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
please,
Prabhuji, I
Prabhuji.
will recite.
Yeah, it is better,
Please.
Prabhuji. Better, please. Yeah.
श्री भगवान वाच ऊर्ध्वमूलम् अदाशाकम् अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययम् चन्दां शीर्षपर्णानि हस्तं वेदसा वेदवित् अधश्च ऊर्ध्वं प्रशस्तास्तस्य शाखा पुनः प्रवृत्ता विषया प्रबलः अधश्च मूलानि अनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके न रूपमस्तेह ततोऽपि लभ्यते नान्तो नाचदिर्नाचासंप्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गचक्रेण दृढेन चित्वा तथा पादं तत्परिमार्गितव्यं यस्मिन् गता न निर्वर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यथा प्रवृत्ति प्रशस्ता पुराणे निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोष आद्यात्मनित्या विनिवर्तितामः द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैर्गच्छन्त्य मूढा पदमव्ययं तत् न तद्भाष्यते सूर्यो न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निर्वर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम ममेवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूता सनातना मनाषष्ठानि इन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि चाक्षति शरीरं यदवाप्नोति यश्चापि विक्रमतीश्वर गृहद्वैतानि साम्याति वायुर्गन्धं निवासयात् श्रोत्रं चक्षुः च रसनं ग्रहणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनसा स्यान् विषयानुपसेवते वक्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानां वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषा यतन्तो योगिना शैनं पश्यन्ति आत्मनि अवस्थितं यतन्तोऽप्येतरात्मनः नैनं पश्यन्ति अचेतसा यदादित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भाष्यते अखिलं यश्चन्द्रांसि यश्चाग्नो तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकम् गामाविश्य च भूतानि धारयामि अहमोजसा औष्णामि चौषधी सा सर्व सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रिता प्राणापानसमायुक्ता पश्यामि अन्नं चतुर्विधं सर्वस्य चाहं मृतसन्निविष्टो मत्तात्मचिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव शाहं गाव्यमो पुरुषो लोके चराचक्षर एव च क्षरा सर्वाणि भूतानि भूतस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते उत्तमं पुरुषस्तु अन्यः परमात्मेति उदारता यो लोकत्रयम् अविश्य बिभर्ति ईश्वर यस्मात्कारम् अतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादि अपि चोत्तमा तोऽस्मि लोकवेदेश प्रतिता पुरुषोत्तमा यो माम् एवम् असम्मूढो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं सा सर्वविद्धि भजति मां सर्वभावेन भारत इति गृह्यतमं शास्त्रं यदं मुक्तं मया नघ एतद्बुद्धवा बुद्धिमानः स्यात् कृताकृतश्च भारत। हरे कृष्ण।
जय हो प्रभु जी, जय हो। Yes, Prabhuji. So we'll wind up and please bless me, Prabhuji, so that at least 1% I can, at least remember. आपने प्रभुजी पूरा याद किए चैप्टर को, that is, glorious. So it will
तो
take
लिया
many
तो
lifetimes for me.
हम लोग जो
मेरे को बहुत लाइफ टाइम लगेंगे प्रभुजी।
नहीं तो आपको तो इजीली है, आप हो जाएगा
Yeah,
दिस
actually, practice is
इज
required. The
स्पेशल।
dedication is not there with me, Prabhuji. That is the issue. But anyway, thank you so much, Prabhuji. And in morning, actually, Prabhuji, actually, I am not able to. There are some
ओके
assignments
ब्रो,
also.
जय विल।
And yeah, so this is the issues actually. Yeah, so, sorry, Prabhuji.
आई एम यस प्रभु, आई एम अपलोडिंग दैट वन प्रभु जी। But Prabhuji told no that
Yeah,
software
yeah,
you are
yes. That
Hare Krishna
playing, I think.
mantra with counting.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. That will be good, Prabhuji, because Prabhuji give.
That I am sharing, bro.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Okay, so we will wind up here. Hare Krishna.
Okay, bro.
Jai
Thank
Ho,
you so
Jai
much,
Ho. Thank you so much.
Master.
Hare Krishna.